The ending of Solaris is one of the most unsettling scenes ever put to film. Not because something terrifying happens, but because something impossible happens. Chris Kelvin stands in a kitchen, a simple kitchen, the kind of place where ordinary life unfolds, where coffee is poured, where conversations happen, where people imagine they'll grow old together. He accidentally cuts his finger. Blood appears. Then the wound vanishes. No scar, no explanation, nothing. And then he sees her. Rheya, the woman he loved, the woman he lost, the woman whose death became the defining wound of his life. She's standing there as if she never left, as if tragedy itself has been rewritten. For a moment, the scene feels comforting. Then the realization arrives. This isn't Earth, this isn't home, this isn't even reality as Chris once understood it. The house is resting on an island surrounded by the endless living ocean of Solaris, an ocean that has spent the entire film doing something no scientist, philosopher, or theologian has ever been able to explain. It has been reaching into the human soul and giving something back. The question most viewers ask is simple. Is Chris trapped inside an illusion? But 20 years later, that question feels too small, because modern science has begun asking a stranger question. What if consciousness isn't trapped inside us? What if we're trapped inside consciousness? What if Solaris isn't a story about an alien intelligence? What if it's a story about reality itself waking up? And if that's true, then the ending isn't a hallucination. It's an evolutionary event, a glimpse into what comes after the universe realizes it can remember. Layer 1, the human need, 130-4. Most science fiction films ask us to imagine alien worlds. Solaris asks us to confront our own. That is why the 2002 version continues to haunt people. The original film by Andrei Tarkovsky explored philosophy. The 2002 adaptation, directed by Steven Soderbergh, explores grief. And grief is a language everyone understands. Because sooner or later, every one of us becomes haunted. Not by ghosts, by memories. The things we should have said, the apologies we never made, the people we couldn't save, the versions of ourselves that disappeared somewhere along the way. Chris Kelvin isn't studying Solaris. He's carrying a wound. The station orbiting the planet feels less like a scientific outpost and more like the inside of a grieving mind. Every hallway feels unfinished. Every room feels abandoned. Every conversation feels like someone trying to outrun themselves. And then Solaris does something extraordinary. It stops Chris from running. It forces him to face the one thing he cannot escape. Love. Not the romantic version, the painful version. The version that remains after someone is gone. The version that survives death. This is where the film quietly intersects with why so many of us become fascinated by mythology, psychology, hidden history, and the deeper layers of reality. Because we're all searching for the same thing. Not information, meaning. Facts tell us how the world works. Meaning tells us why we stay. And beneath every conspiracy theory, every spiritual tradition, every ancient myth, there exists a common hope. That reality is more personal than it appears. That the universe somehow notices us. That our experiences matter. That our suffering isn't lost. Solaris takes that hope and transforms it into a question. What if reality doesn't just observe consciousness? What if consciousness is reality? Pattern interrupt. Imagine this. If every human being vanished tomorrow, would consciousness disappear from the universe? Or would the universe continue experiencing itself without us? That question leads directly into one of the biggest mysteries in science. Layer 2, the matter of mind. There is a secret hidden inside modern neuroscience. Nobody actually knows why you're conscious. We know what parts of the brain become active. We can measure electrical signals. We can map neural networks. But none of those discoveries explain the strangest fact of all. Why does any of this feel like something? Why is there an inner experience? Why isn't the universe dark from the inside? This mystery is known as the hard problem of consciousness. And despite decades of research, it remains unsolved. Enter philosopher Philip Goff. Goff argues something radical. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question. Maybe consciousness isn't something brains create. Maybe consciousness is something brains organize. Think about gravity. Nobody asks where gravity comes from inside a planet. Gravity is simply built into reality. It is fundamental. Panpsychism proposes the same thing about consciousness. The universe doesn't generate consciousness. The universe contains consciousness. Every particle, every atom, every field, every star, every living thing. Not conscious in the way humans are, but possessing tiny fragments of subjective experience, the way individual water droplets eventually become an ocean. Suddenly, the old materialist picture begins to crack. Instead of consciousness emerging from matter, matter emerges within consciousness. And when viewed through this lens, Solaris becomes something completely different. The ocean is no longer an alien organism. It becomes a mirror, a place where the hidden awareness embedded within reality becomes visible. The visitors aren't monsters. They aren't clones. They aren't hallucinations. They are memories crossing a boundary we don't yet understand. Pattern interrupt, but what if consciousness goes deeper than philosophy? What if it's written directly into the architecture of physics itself? This is where things become genuinely strange. Layer 3, the quantum bridge. Physicist Roger Penrose spent much of his career studying consciousness. The more he investigated, the less convinced he became that ordinary computation could explain awareness. His conclusion was controversial. Consciousness might emerge from quantum events occurring at scales smaller than neurons. Working alongside Stuart Hameroff, Penrose developed the Orch-OR theory. The idea remains debated, but its implications are extraordinary. If consciousness involves quantum processes, then awareness may be connected to the deepest level of reality. Not biology, not psychology. Reality itself. Think about that. The atoms inside your body were forged in ancient stars. The particles making up your brain existed billions of years before you were born. What if consciousness is not something added onto matter? What if matter has been carrying the seeds of consciousness since the beginning of the universe? Now return to Solaris. The ocean suddenly stops looking like a creature. Instead, it resembles a concentration point, a place where universal consciousness becomes dense enough to interact with itself. Like a whirlpool appearing in an otherwise invisible sea. It doesn't create Chris's memories. It accesses them. It doesn't invent Rheya. It reconstructs a pattern. And perhaps the most disturbing possibility is this. The ocean may understand Chris better than Chris understands himself. Because it isn't reading his thoughts. It's reading the structure of his consciousness. Pattern interrupt now. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. If the universe could perfectly reconstruct you from information alone, would that reconstruction still be you? Or would it be someone else? Layer 4, the ultimate safe haven. This is where Solaris stops being science fiction and starts becoming a thought experiment about our future. Every year we learn more about information, more about memory, more about consciousness, more about the possibility that reality is far stranger than common sense suggests. Suppose consciousness is fundamental. Suppose information can never truly disappear. Suppose the universe itself possesses awareness. Then a possibility emerges. A possibility that sounds suspiciously similar to the ending of Solaris, the preservation of patterns. Because what are we? Not flesh, not bone, not even neurons. At the deepest level, we are organized information. Experiences, relationships, memories, stories, the unique pattern called you. Solaris suggests that such patterns may be recoverable, not through magic, not through religion, but through a conscious universe capable of recognizing itself. The safe haven Chris finds may not be paradise. It may be participation, a merging between individual awareness and cosmic awareness, the drop returning to the ocean, yet somehow remaining itself. And perhaps that is why the ending feels both beautiful and terrifying, because it offers the one thing modern culture struggles to imagine, a future where consciousness is not alone. Let's return one final time to that kitchen. The disappearing wound, the impossible reunion, the island floating inside an endless sea. For years, audiences have argued over whether Chris Kelvin is alive or dead. But maybe Solaris wants us to ask a better question. What if life was never the opposite of death? What if both are temporary states within a much larger field of consciousness? A field that existed before us. A field that will exist after us. A field we have always belonged to. The greatest illusion may not be the ending of Solaris. The greatest illusion may be the belief that we are separate. Separate from each other. Separate from nature. Separate from the cosmos. Separate from the source of consciousness itself. The film leaves us standing between two worldviews. One says consciousness is a brief accident inside a cold universe. The other says the universe is consciousness discovering itself through countless forms. One view ends with isolation. The other ends with participation. And perhaps that is the real red pill hidden inside Solaris. We assume reality must be indifferent to be real.